Well, Matt and Beth Orme, thank you so much for joining me tonight here to talk about Jeeves Takes a Bow. Now, I want to talk to you specifically because I find it fascinating that you are both touching upon choreography for this production in very, very specific ways. And it has been a long time. I have not remembered, in my memory at least, when we've had two people doing choreography for a show. Can you tell me a little bit about what that looks like for Jeeves Takes a Bow?
Yes, it looks like both of us working with each other in our kitchen quite a bit on the different styles and different parts of the movement, whether it's more of a dancing choreography or whether it's movement in chases and silliness around the stage. But I think because we've both come to theater and the arts through movement initially, we have a really good time when we get the chance to work with each other, coming from that movement base.
And that's right. We do stuff in our kitchen and we'll stand up and she'll have some kind of maybe dance ideas and we'll do that together in the kitchen, or we'll do a chase scene around the house. And ultimately with something like Jeeves, right? We're always like, is that funny? Do you think that's funny?
Does that work?
Does that work for you? Or sometimes we might take out a spatula, for a found weapon and use those kinds of things. Yeah, it's fun.
That sounds like it, as long as there's no pot of hot soup bubbling on the stove, right? That might.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, what are some moments, don't give anything away, but what are some moments in which an audience member will be there and be seeing movement around that you will have choreographed, whether it's a fight or a dance or what it might be?
Well, for me, there's a lot of moments where they're called pandemoniums. And it's like everybody all of a sudden is just doing this British farce runaround kind of craziness. And so we orchestrate all of these different bodies and still not just kind of chaotic, but giving everybody a story why they're doing what they're doing and bumping into each other and spinning each other around to kind of create this kind of chaotic feel on stage. That happens quite a bit. So they'll see that and that's pretty humorous stuff. British kind of high British kind of goofiness.
That'll be fun.
And for the dance, what the audience can look for is the music that happens, and still coming from that idea of telling a story, but perhaps also then incorporating some of our 1930s flavor into what would a 1930s musical theater dance or production number or cabaret number feel like and stylistically look like.
Well, that's wonderful. I can't wait to see it. And I know we're talking here on May 1st, about 2.5 weeks before opening. And I can't wait to see, I can't wait to see it on the stage already. And it sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, they're all working very, very hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of you have a history with Taproot, with Scott Nolte and with Karen Lund. Tell me a little bit about that, how far back you go with Taproot and how you got acquainted with each of them.
Well, I taught and still do teach at Roosevelt High School. And I had been co-director and choreographer there for around 20 to 25 years. And Scott's son, Peter, came through the program. And so I had worked with Peter and then met Scott and Pam through that connection. And at one point, and I don't remember which show it was first, but at one point they asked me to start working at Taproot. And so I've just loved every moment of it, of course. And it's been really fun because it's very different coming from a high school production where you're choreographing 60 actors on a big stage to choreographing 6 actors on the smaller Taproot stage. So it's been a really fun challenge as well.
And I met Karen, it must have been about 2012, and I was starting teaching adjunct in the theater department at SPU. So we kind of made that connection with alumni and that different kind of thing. And she was doing Bach at Leipzig back then. And that was kind of this funny, goofy comedy, but also had lots of swords in it. So she hired me to do that back then. And it's been 10 years now, over 10 years. And I think I think it's close to 20 shows I've done here now
That's
with
wonderful.
with Karen and Scott. It's been
Tell
great.
me, tell me some of those titles that you think are some of your favorite ones that you've done.
Oh, wow. Bucket Leapsic was really, really fun because it was this tiny stage, of course, and everybody had a sword. And so we were trying to figure out how to, do this kind of fun show. And then I'm trying to remember the one that Scott did this last go around. It was a Sherlock Holmes one. That was kind of fun. I had friends in that show.
Big Fish was fun.
Big Fish was great because we both actually choreographed that together. And so Beth did the musical choreography for that, which was wonderful. And then there were actually some fisticuffs, some actual fights that were in that. That was fun. I'm trying to remember this other one. I can't remember the name of it. But they had this drink on the bar, and they would always slide it down there and it'd fly off the end of the bar, and somebody would always catch it. And that was the gag of the whole thing. I wish I could remember the name of that show. I can't, it escapes me, but that also was a real fun show. They're all great because it's working with Karen and Scott. It's just kind of fills your spirit a little bit. When you leave home, you're always anxious to come to the theater. And then when you're done leaving the theater and going back home, you feel kind of like, I feel good about the world. It was
And the community.
And the community. Yeah, the
in.
community and the actors and people that they hire and stuff, the production staff, everybody is just just a great place to be. It's a good family.
I love hearing that. And I find that I have the same experience there. I worked there from 2007 through 2011 in this position, left only because I was pregnant and was going to have a baby.
Right, right.
So 10 years later, I was looking for a job and the same position opened up.
That's great.
So I'm back. And so I basically took a 10-year maternity leave. But of all the places I would want to go back to, I'm so glad to be at Taproot. So when I hear people like you talk about that, I'm like, yes.
Yep. Yeah.
I know that
thing.
feeling. Yeah.
Really special. Yeah.
Very special.
We're very thankful and very blessed. So it's always, and when we get to do it together, it's a bonus. It is a bonus.
Well, tell me, what are some of the other things that the two of you have worked together on in the past at Taproot or elsewhere, or what are some of your favorite parts about working together as a team?
Well, we met doing a show together a long time ago, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. So we played opposite each other, and we were the leads of that show, and that was really fun. Back when we were doing more acting and that kind of thing. And then Beth hired me to do Oklahoma at Roosevelt High School.
Because I thought he was cute. And so I had all of a sudden needed to make sure we had stage combat choreography for some of those high school shows. Yeah. And otherwise, I think we've worked more together too at SPU.
Yeah, we just did Urinetown 2 years ago.
Urinetown, it was January, right before the pandemic. So 2020.
Right.
In January.
So they were able to complete that one. That was a fun show to work on too at SPU.
So back to Jeeves for just a minute. Tell me, what is it that made you want to work on this particular show? And what is it that you hope that the audience is going to experience when they come to see it?
Well, for me, I love goofy British kind of lighthearted comedy kinds of things. So when you can kind of bring the audience together, all of the production crew and the actors and everything to kind of have a nice night of community. It's not too deep, it's not too heady, it's just comedy. And I think for me right now, with everything that's going on in the world and all the stuff that folks are having challenges with, it's just such a nice time to come together. It's like that family. And laugh and enjoy, and everybody can kind of put things away, whatever side you're on politically or whatever it is. We can come together as a people and just have a wonderful night of celebration. And I think that with the actors, making that connection with the audience, it's a nice thing to be able to make a contribution to.
And I think for me, absolutely what Matt was just saying is But I also think that kind of what we spoke to already, that I always look forward to working at Taproot because of the community I know I'll be joining. And so it's always a very supportive community, willing to play, and I also do, besides the community and all of that and the silliness, I love the idea that we do in our world get to have times where we just laugh. We laugh together. And I think that's really, really needed right now and really important. And I see that in Jeeves. And I love the 1930s time period. And so it's always been a fun time period to choreograph in, as well as perform in when we performed more too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Matt and Beth, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
Enjoy the show. Come and laugh and have a wonderful night out. Give yourself a treat.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.